You left me to die in that dirty room while you people were eating good food and living in big houses." The words echoed through the church compound, making everyone freeze. Old man Sori stood at the entrance of the wedding reception, his body shaking with anger and pain. His clothes were torn and dirty. His feet had no shoes. His face was so thin that his bones were showing through his skin. The three children getting their picture taken. Dr. David in his fine suit, Engineer Michael with his expensive watch, and Lawyer Joy in her beautiful white wedding dress all turned to look. Their faces went from happy to shocked to scared in just 1 second. "Papa?" Joy whispered, her voice breaking. But Sori wasn't finished. Tears were running down his old face now. "I sold everything. Every single house. I worked until my body was breaking. I didn't eat so you people could eat. And now you left me to die alone like a dog in the streets." The wedding guests started whispering. Phones came out. People started recording. The music stopped playing. This was supposed to be the happiest day of Joy's life. Instead, it was about to become the day when everyone would learn the terrible truth about what these three successful children had done to their father. But how did things get so bad? How did a man who gave everything end up abandoned and forgotten? To understand that, we need to go back to where it all started. 25 years earlier. Sori met Marama when they were both young students at the government secondary school in Freetown. Sori would share his cassava leaves with Marama when her family couldn't afford to give her lunch money. Marama would help Sori with his English homework when the words were too hard for him. "One day, I will marry you," Sori told her under the big cotton tree near their school. Marama laughed. "Have money first before you talk about marriage. I will work hard. I promise you. We are going to build a good life together." And he kept that promise. After secondary school, they both went to Fora Bay College. Sori worked as a taxi driver at night while studying during the day. Marama sold clothes at the market on weekends. They were so tired all the time, but they had each other. That was enough. After finishing university, Sori started a small construction business. He would wake up at 4 a.m. and work until the sun went down. Slowly, the business grew. He built one house, then another, then another. By the time he and Marama got married in a small ceremony at the Central Mosque, Sori owned 5 houses in different parts of Freetown. They weren't rich people, but they were comfortable. They had enough. The children came one by one. First was David, then the twins, Michael and Joy. Sori would carry them on his shoulders through the streets of Congo town, buying them ice cream and biscuits. Marama would sing Teemee songs while cooking in their kitchen. Their home was always full of laughter and love. Life was sweet. Then everything changed. Marama was teaching at the Annie Walsh Memorial School when she fell down in her classroom. The children screamed. The other teachers rushed her to Connaught Hospital. "It is cancer," the doctor said, looking sad. "Stage 3. We can treat it, but it will cost plenty money." Sori felt like someone had punched him in his chest. "How much money?" When the doctor told him, Sori's hands started shaking. It was more money than most people in Sierra Leone would see in their whole life. But this was Marama. His Marama, the woman who had stood by him when he had nothing, the mother of his children, his best friend. "I will find the money," Sori said. He sold the first house in 1 week. The money went to pay for the first round of treatment. Marama's beautiful hair fell out, but she still smiled at him from her hospital bed. "Sori, you are doing too much," she whispered. "Nothing is too much for you, Marama. Nothing." He sold the second house to pay for more treatments. Then the third house to pay for the expensive medicine from America. Then the fourth house to take her to a special hospital in Ghana. Sori moved his family into the last house, the smallest one in Wellington. He poured every Leone, every dollar, every bit of money he had into fighting the terrible disease that was taking his wife away from him. But sometimes, even love and money cannot win against death. Marama died on a rainy Tuesday morning. Sori was holding her hand. The children were crying around her bed. David was 14 years old. Michael and Joy were only 11. At her funeral in the Kisi Road Cemetery, Sori made a promise while standing over her grave. Marama, I will never bring another woman into our children's life. You are the only one for me. I will be both mother and father to them. I swear this on your grave. After Marama died, Sori had to become everything to his children. He woke up at 4 a.m. every morning to cook breakfast and pack lunch for 3 growing children. Then he would rush to work at his construction business. Then he would come home to help them with homework that he didn't always understand. Science had changed since his school days. Mathematics had new methods he had never learned. He went to every parent-teacher meeting alone, sitting in chairs that were meant for 2 people. The other parents would come as couples, holding hands and discussing their children together. Sori would sit by himself, trying to be enough for his 3 children. When David said he wanted to be a doctor, Sori's heart filled with both pride and fear. Medical school was expensive, very, very expensive. Papa, I can work and go to school at the same time, David said. No, Sori said firmly. Your mama wanted you to focus on your books. That is what you will do. He went to the bank and took a loan, using his last house as collateral. The bank manager, a young man who looked like he could be Sori's son, tried to warn him. Mr. Sori, if you cannot pay this loan back, you will lose your house. You understand? I understand, Sori said, signing the papers even though his hand was shaking. When Michael and Joy both got admission to university the same year that David started his clinical practice at Connaught Hospital, Sori knew the loan money would not be enough. Michael wanted to study engineering at Fora Bay College. Joy wanted to study law. Both programs needed plenty of money for books, materials, and fees. Sori looked at his house, the last house, and he made a decision. He sold it. Papa, no! The children cried when he told them. Where will you live? I found a small room to rent in Congo Town. Sori lied, smiling to hide his pain. It is actually better, closer to my work. The truth was different. The room Sori rented was tiny, so small that he could touch both walls if he stretched out his arms. He shared one bathroom with 10 other people. The roof leaked when it rained. There was no fan. So, the heat at night made it hard to sleep. But when his children called him on video, he would angle the phone camera so they couldn't see how small and dirty the room really was. Papa, your place looks nice, Joy said during one call. Sori smiled at the screen, his heart breaking. Yes, it is fine. How are your studies going? The years began to destroy Sori, like the rain destroys an old building. He started eating only 1 meal a day so he could pay for his children's school cafeteria fees. He wore the same 3 shirts over and over until they were so thin you could almost see through them. When David called saying he needed money for a medical conference that could help his career, Sori worked night shifts for 2 months straight, carrying heavy blocks and cement even though his back was hurting. When Michael's laptop broke during exam time, Sori borrowed money from his cousin, Ibrahim. It took him 1 full year to pay Ibrahim back because his business was not doing well anymore. He was too tired to work properly, too old, too broken. When Joy needed professional clothes for law firm interviews, Sori stopped taking his blood pressure medicine for 4 months to save money. His head would hurt so badly that he couldn't see straight sometimes, but he didn't tell anyone. He never told his children about any of his suffering. Papa, how are you? They would ask during their quick phone calls between their busy lives. I am fine, he would lie. How are your studies? David graduated top of his class from medical school. He got a job at a big hospital in Freetown, then got accepted for a special training program in Ghana. Michael graduated with honors and got a job with a British engineering company. They wanted to send him to London for more training. Joy passed her bar exams on the first try and got a job at one of the biggest law firms in Freetown. Her starting salary was more money than Sori had made in a whole year. Sori went to all their graduation ceremonies in his only suit, which was now too big for him because he had become so thin. He clapped until his hands were red and painful. He cried tears of joy and pride. "Marama, do you see them?" he whispered, looking up at the sky. "Our children made it. We did it." But success changed his children in ways Sori didn't expect. At first, David called every Sunday. They would talk for 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. David would tell him about the patients he was treating, the new things he was learning. Then the calls became every 2 Sundays. Then once a month. "Sorry, Papa, the hospital is very busy. You understand?" Michael went to London for what was supposed to be 6 months. 6 months became 1 year. 1 year became 2 years. "I will visit soon, Papa, I promise. I just need to establish myself here first." Joy got engaged to another lawyer named Fode. Sori heard about it through a cousin who saw it on Facebook. Joy didn't call him to tell him herself. When she finally called, 2 weeks after the proposal, she sounded rushed. "Papa, it happened so fast. I was going to tell you." "Can I meet him?" Sori asked quietly. "Can I meet the man who will marry my daughter?" "Soon, Papa. We are both very busy with work." Soon never came. When Joy and Fode started planning the wedding, Sori hoped, prayed that she would ask him to walk her down the aisle. That was what fathers did. That was his right, his dream. But Joy called him one evening, speaking very fast like she wanted to finish the conversation quickly. "Papa, David will walk me down the aisle since he's the eldest. You understand, right? It is tradition." Sori felt something break inside his chest. "But I am your father." "Yes, but David is the man of the family now. You understand how it is. Don't be upset, Papa." But he was upset. He was heartbroken. He just didn't say it. The phone calls became shorter and shorter. "Papa, I can't talk now." "Papa, I'm in a meeting." "Papa, we are busy with the baby. I will call you back." But the call back never came. Sori became invisible to the children he had given everything for. He became an afterthought, a duty they forgot about, a name on their phone that they ignored. He lived in his tiny room, watching his body fall apart. His joints hurt from all the years of hard work. His heart was weak from years of stress and not taking his medicine properly. His spirit was broken from slowly disappearing from the lives he had created and sacrificed everything to build. One night, Sori had a stroke. A small one, but scary. His left side went numb and he fell on the floor of his room. He lay there for 2 hours before his neighbor, Auntie Fatmata, heard him calling for help. She rushed him to Connaught Hospital in her husband's car. Sori lay in the general ward. He couldn't afford a private room waiting for his children to come. He sent them messages, called them. David sent money through mobile money. "For your hospital bills, Papa. I'm in Ghana for a conference. I can't leave right now." Michael sent money from London. "Sorry, I can't be there, Papa. Work is crazy right now." Joy sent money. "Papa, I have court cases this whole week. I will try to come on Sunday." Sunday came and went. Joy didn't come. Sori stared at his phone, at the mobile money notifications, and felt his heart break in a way that had nothing to do with his stroke. His children had sent money, but they didn't send themselves. 6 months later, Sori's condition got worse. He couldn't work anymore. His landlord wanted him out because he couldn't pay rent. He had no money, no food, no one. He called David. The phone rang and rang before going to voicemail. He called Michael. Papa, I will send you something next week, I promise. Next week came. Nothing. He called Joy. Papa, Fode and I are planning the wedding now. Can we talk later? Sori hung up and sat on the floor of his room. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. His body was so weak he could barely stand. That's when Auntie Fatmata came to his room with news. Sori, Joy is getting married next week Saturday. I saw the invitation at my neighbor's house. Did you know? Sori's hands started shaking. She didn't tell me. What? Your own daughter is getting married and she didn't invite you? Sori felt something inside him snap. All the years of suffering in silence, all the years of being forgotten and ignored, all the years of giving everything and getting nothing back. Where is the wedding? He asked quietly. At the Family Kingdom Church. Big reception too. All the important people in Freetown will be there. Sori stood up, his decision made. Auntie Fatmata, help me. I need to go to that wedding. Sori used the last bit of money he had to take a taxi to the church. He didn't have nice clothes to wear. He didn't have shoes. He didn't care anymore. When he arrived at Family Kingdom Church, the wedding was finishing. People were moving to the reception area at the back of the church compound. There was a big tent, fancy decorations, a live band playing music, tables full of food. Sori saw his 3 children standing together, taking pictures. David in an expensive suit, Michael with a gold watch on his wrist, Joy in a beautiful white wedding dress that probably cost more than Sori's rent for a whole year. They were laughing, happy, successful, and Sori realized they had forgotten him completely. They were living their best lives while he was dying alone in a dirty room. Something broke inside him. He walked toward them, his thin body shaking with anger and pain, and years of being invisible. You left me to die in that dirty room while you people were eating good food and living in big houses. The music stopped. Everyone turned to look. Joy's face went white under her makeup. Papa? I sold everything! Sori shouted, tears running down his face now. Every house. I worked until my body broke. I didn't eat so you people could eat. I sold my own blood to make sure you succeeded. And this is how you repay me? You left me to die alone like a street dog? David stepped forward. Papa, you're making a scene. Can we talk about this? Talk? Sori's voice cracked. When was the last time any of you wanted to talk to me? When was the last time you visited me? When I was in the hospital dying, where were you? You sent money. Just money. Like I am a beggar on the street, not your father. Michael tried to speak. Papa, we have been busy. Busy? Sori laughed, but it sounded like crying. Too busy to visit your father who gave you everything? Too busy to check if I had food to eat? Too busy to see if I was alive or dead? The wedding guests were recording everything on their phones now. Joy's new husband, Fode, looked uncomfortable. His family members were whispering. Joy stepped towards Sori, her eyes wet. Papa, please. Not here. Not now. This is my wedding day. Your wedding day that you didn't even invite me to, Sori shouted. I am your father. I should have walked you down the aisle. But you gave that honor to David because you people are ashamed of me. Ashamed of the old poor man who destroyed himself to make you successful. That's not true, Joy cried. Then where have you been? Sori's voice echoed across the compound. Where were you when I had my stroke? Where were you when I couldn't afford food? Where were you when the landlord was throwing me out? You people were busy enjoying the life I gave you, spending money on expensive clothes and parties, while I was suffering alone. The silence that followed was thick and heavy. Everyone was staring at the 3 successful children and their poor, abandoned father. David's face was red with shame. Michael was looking at the ground. Joy was crying, her beautiful makeup running down her face. We didn't know it was that bad, David finally said quietly. You didn't know because you didn't want to know, Sori shouted. It was easier to send small money and forget about me. Easier to live your good life and pretend your papa doesn't exist. Sori's legs started to shake. The anger had used up all his energy. Auntie Fatmata, who had followed him in another taxi, rushed to support him. But Sori had one more thing to say. He looked at his 3 children, his voice now soft and broken. I gave you people everything. My money, my houses, my health, my life. Your mama and I sacrificed everything so you could be standing here today in your fine clothes with your big jobs. He paused, tears streaming down his old face. And you left me with nothing. Not even your time. Not even your love. Then Sori collapsed. Sori's body hit the ground hard. Papa! All 3 children screamed at the same time, rushing toward him. But Auntie Fatmata pushed them away with a strength that surprised everyone. Don't touch him. You people lost that right long time ago. David, the doctor, tried to check Sori's pulse. Move! I'm a doctor. He needs help. Now you want to help him? Auntie Fatmata's voice was full of anger. Where was this concern when he was lying in the hospital alone? Where was this concern when he was starving in that dirty room? Some of the wedding guests started shouting at David, Michael, and Joy. Shame on you people. Your father sacrificed everything and this is how you treat him? So wicked. So ungrateful. Joy was crying so hard she could barely stand. Her new husband, Fode, looked like he wanted to disappear. His family members were whispering and pointing at Joy with disgust on their faces. David finally managed to check Sori's pulse. He's breathing. He just fainted. But his pulse is very weak. We need to get him to the hospital now. Which hospital? Michael asked, his voice shaking. Cannot? I'll call for an ambulance. Ambulance? An old man from the crowd laughed bitterly. You will wait 2 hours for ambulance in Freetown. Just carry the man in your car. Or is your car too fine to carry your own papa? Michael's face turned red with shame. They rushed Sori to the private section of Connaught Hospital, the part where rich people went. David used his connections to get his father the best room, the best doctors, the best everything. But as they sat in the waiting room while doctors examined Sori, the 3 children couldn't look at each other. The shame was too heavy. Joy was still in her wedding dress, but the white fabric was dirty now from kneeling on the ground. Her makeup was completely ruined from crying. Her new husband sat far away from her, talking quietly on the phone to his family. They want to cancel the reception, Fode finally said, not looking at Joy. My mother is very upset. She says we should postpone everything until this situation is resolved. Postpone? Joy looked up, her eyes red and swollen. Fode, he's my father. He almost died. And you're worried about the party? My family is worried about what people will say. That video is already all over Facebook and WhatsApp. Everyone is talking about how you people abandoned your father. My mother is asking what kind of family I'm marrying into. Joy felt like she'd been slapped, but she couldn't say anything because he was right. She had abandoned her father. They all had. Michael was sitting with his head in his hands. How did we let it get this bad? How did we not know he was suffering like this? We knew, David said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. Don't lie to ourselves. We knew. Maybe not all the details, but we knew something was wrong. Every time Papa called, his voice sounded weaker, more tired. But we were too busy to ask questions, too busy to visit, too busy with our own lives. But he always said he was fine, Michael protested. And we let ourselves believe it because it was easier. David's voice rose. It was easier to believe everything was okay than to face the truth. Easier to send money than to actually show up. The doctor came out before they could argue more. It was Dr. Kamara, an older man who had known Sori for many years. "Your father is awake," Dr. Kamara said, his voice cold. "But I must tell you something. His condition is very serious. His heart is extremely weak. His blood pressure is dangerously high because he hasn't been taking medication. He is severely malnourished. When was the last time that man ate a proper meal?" The three children looked at each other. None of them knew. Dr. Kamara shook his head with disappointment. "I have known your father since you people were children. I remember when he would bring you here for checkups, always making sure you had the best care even when he couldn't afford it. And now I find him in this condition. Shame on you people. Shame on all of you." "Can we see him?" Joy asked in a small voice. "He doesn't want to see you," Dr. Kamara said flatly. "He specifically told me to tell you people to go away, but they didn't go away." Joy took off her wedding dress and put on normal clothes that her friend brought to the hospital. Fode went home with his family, saying he needed to think about things. Joy barely noticed him leave. David, Michael, and Joy sat outside their father's hospital room all night. Nurses came and went. Other patients' families stared at them and whispered. Everyone had seen the video by now. Everyone knew what they had done. Around 3 a.m., Auntie Fatmata came out of Sori's room. The three children stood up quickly. "How is he?" David asked. "Weak, in pain, heartbroken." Auntie Fatmata looked at them with such disappointment that it hurt worse than any insult. "You people want to know something? For the past 6 months, I have been sharing my food with your father. My husband and I would pretend we cooked too much and force him to eat with us because we knew he had nothing. We are not rich people. We struggle ourselves, but we couldn't watch him starve." Joy started crying again. "We didn't know. You didn't want to know." Auntie Fatmata's voice was sharp. "That man called you people, texted you, and you were too busy with your big jobs and your important meetings and your fine parties. Well, look at you now. Your father is in there dying, and your fine life doesn't matter anymore, does it?" Michael spoke up, his voice breaking. "Please, Auntie, please convince him to see us. We know we were wrong. We know we failed him. Just give us a chance to apologize." "Apologize?" Auntie Fatmata laughed, but there was no joy in it. "You think Sori will fix what you people did? You think Sori will give him back the years he spent suffering alone? Will Sori feed him the meals he missed? Will Sori heal his broken heart?" She walked away, leaving them standing there with those questions burning in their minds. As the sun rose on Sunday morning, the three children sat in the hospital corridor looking like ghosts. David's expensive suit was wrinkled. Michael's gold watch felt heavy on his wrist like a chain. Joy couldn't stop thinking about her wedding reception that never happened, and how little it mattered now. Dr. Kamara came out again, and this time his face was grave. "Your father's condition is getting worse. His heart is failing. We are doing everything we can, but..." He paused. "You people need to understand something. Your father's body is giving up not just because of physical sickness. It's giving up because his spirit is broken. He has lost the will to fight. He told me this morning that he has nothing to live for anymore." "No," Joy whispered. "No, no, no. Let us see him," David begged. "Please. Even if he's angry, even if he curses us, we need to see him." Dr. Kamara looked at them for a long moment. "Wait here." He went into the room. They could hear low voices, then silence. When Dr. Kamara came back out, he said, "He will see you, but only for a few minutes. His body can't handle stress right now." They walked into the room together, and what they saw made them all stop breathing for a moment. Their father looked like a different person. He had always been strong, even when he was getting older. But now he looked so small in that hospital bed. So thin, so broken. His eyes were open, but they looked empty. Like he had used up all his tears and all his anger, and now there was nothing left. "Papa," David said, his voice cracking. Sori didn't respond. He just stared at the ceiling. Joy fell to her knees beside the bed. "Papa, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Sori finally spoke, his voice weak and rough. That is a small word for big damage. Michael moved closer. "Papa, we didn't understand. We didn't realize." "You didn't realize because you didn't care to realize," Sori said, still not looking at them. "I called you people. Every week I called, and you were always too busy. Too busy to talk to the man who sold his last house, so you could go to school. Too busy to visit the man who didn't eat so you could eat." "We were wrong," David said, tears running down his face. "We were so wrong, Papa. We got caught up in our new lives, and we forgot about the person who made those lives possible." "Forgot?" Sori finally turned to look at them, and the pain in his eyes was terrible to see. "You people didn't forget. You chose to ignore me. You chose your jobs and your friends and your parties over me. You chose to pretend I didn't exist because it was easier than dealing with an old, poor father." "That's not true," Joy cried. "We love you, Papa." "Love?" Sori's voice got a little stronger with anger. "You want to talk to me about love? I will tell you about love. Love is when I sold every house I owned to pay for your education. Love is when I worked 3 jobs so you people could have the best. Love is when I stopped taking my medicine so Joy could buy clothes for her job interview. That is love." He paused, breathing heavily, then continued. "What you people did, that is not love. That is selfishness. That is forgetting where you came from. That is being ashamed of the man who sacrificed everything for you." The 3 children were all crying now, deep sobs that came from their souls. "You want to know what hurt me most?" Sori said quietly. "It wasn't the hunger. It wasn't the pain. It wasn't even being alone. What hurt most was realizing that I didn't matter to you people anymore. I was just an obligation, an old man you sent money to once in a while to make yourselves feel better." "Papa, please," Michael begged. "Tell us how to fix this. Tell us what to do." "Fix?" Sori closed his eyes. "Some things cannot be fixed, Michael. Some things, once broken, stay broken." Dr. Kamara came in. "That's enough. He needs to rest." But as the children turned to leave, Sori spoke again. "David." David turned back quickly. "Yes, Papa." "When did you last visit your mother's grave?" The question hit David like a punch. I can't remember, Papa." "Michael, when did you last call me without me calling first?" Michael looked at the floor. "I don't know, Papa." "Joy, when did you decide that your brother should walk you down the aisle instead of me?" Joy couldn't answer. She just cried harder. "You people forgot your mother too," Sori said sadly. "You forgot where you came from. You forgot what we sacrificed. You became the kind of people your mother and I never wanted you to be successful on the outside but empty on the inside." That evening, something unexpected happened. People from the neighborhood started arriving at the hospital. Auntie Fatmata, Uncle Ibrahim, who Sori had borrowed money from, the imam from the central mosque, old friends from Sori's construction business days, even some of Sori's former workers. They all gathered in the hospital corridor, and they all had stories to tell. "When my husband died, Sori built my house for free," one old woman said, pointing at David, Michael, and Joy. "Your father gave me a place to live when I had nothing. When I needed money for my daughter's surgery, Sori gave it to me without asking when I would pay back," Uncle Ibrahim said. "I paid him back eventually, but he would have been fine if I never did. That is the kind of man your father is." Story after story came out. Sori had helped so many people, given so much, never asked for anything back. And now, everyone had come to show the children who their father really was. A man who gave to everyone, including them, and asked for nothing except to be remembered. The Imam spoke last. Your father is a good Muslim man. He believed in helping others. He believed in sacrifice. But you people, you have forgotten the most important teaching. Honor your parents. Take care of them. They took care of you when you were helpless babies. You must take care of them when they become helpless old people. The shame the three children felt was crushing. For 3 days, David, Michael, and Joy did not leave the hospital. They took turns sitting outside their father's room. They barely ate, they barely slept. Joy's marriage fell apart before it even began. Fode came to the hospital to say he wanted to postpone the wedding indefinitely. Joy didn't even argue. She realized that a man who would abandon her when she needed to be with her sick father was not the right man anyway. Michael called his job in London and quit. My father needs me, he told his shocked boss. I should have been here months ago. David cancelled all his training programs in Ghana. Family comes first, he said. I forgot that for a while. I won't forget again. On the 4th day, Sori's condition got a little better. The doctors said it was a miracle. But Dr. Kamara knew the truth. He's getting better because he sees his children are finally here. Finally present. Finally choosing him, he told them. The body can heal when the heart starts healing. When Sori was strong enough to talk more, he asked to see his children together. They came in nervously, not knowing what he would say. Sori looked at them for a long time before speaking. I was angry at you people, very angry. I wanted you to feel the pain I felt. That's why I came to your wedding like that, Joy. I wanted to shame you people the way I felt shamed. We deserved it, Joy said quickly. We deserved worse than that, Papa. Maybe, Sori agreed. But I have been lying here thinking about your mother, thinking about what she would say. He paused, his eyes getting wet. Marama would be disappointed in all of us. Disappointed in you people for forgetting your father, but also disappointed in me. In you, Papa? David looked confused. Why? Because I should have talked to you people, really talked. When you started getting busy and calling less, I should have told you how it was affecting me. Instead, I stayed silent and let my pain grow. I let my pride stop me from asking for help when I needed it. Michael shook his head. No, Papa, we should have known. We should have seen. Yes, you should have, Sori said honestly. But I also should have taught you people better. Your mother and I worked so hard to give you a good life that maybe we forgot to teach you the most important things. Family, gratitude, responsibility. You taught us, David said firmly. We just forgot the lessons. We let success make us think we did it alone. We forgot that we were standing on your shoulders, Papa. Standing on all your sacrifices. Sori stayed in the hospital for 2 more weeks. And in those 2 weeks, his children learned who their father truly was. They learned that he had been sleeping on a mat on the floor because he sold his bed to pay their school fees years ago. They learned that he had been eating once a day, usually just bread and tea, for over a year. They learned that their father had diabetes but couldn't afford the medication, so his condition was getting worse. They learned that he had been too proud to tell them any of this because he didn't want to be a burden. Every new detail they learned felt like a knife to their hearts. We're moving you out of that room, David announced one day. Michael, Joy, and I already talked about it. We're buying you a proper house, Papa. With a garden like the one Mama had. With good furniture. With everything you need. I don't want your money, Sori said tiredly. It's not just about money, Papa, Joy said. I'm moving back to Freetown permanently. I'm going to live with you and take care of you. My job said I can work from here. And I'm staying too, Michael added. I already found a job with a construction company here. I'm not going back to London. I'm taking a leave from my training program, David said. For 6 months, I'm going to be here, with you. Sori looked at his 3 children, and for the first time in years, he saw something that made his heart feel warm. He saw them truly seeing him, truly present, truly sorry. You people don't have to do all this, he said quietly. Yes, we do, Joy said firmly. We have to make up for lost time, Papa. We have years of caring for you to catch up on. Years of conversations. Years of being your children, not just people who send money. And we will never abandon you again, Michael said. That is a promise. A promise we will keep, David added. Not like before when we made promises and broke them. This time, you will see it in our actions. It was not easy or quick. Trust takes years to build, and moments to destroy, and even longer to rebuild. But slowly, things began to change. David, Michael, and Joy bought a house in Wilberforce. Not too big, not too small, but comfortable. With a garden where Sori could plant vegetables, like Marama used to do. With a veranda where he could sit and watch the sunset. With a room for each child when they visited. Joy moved in with him immediately. Every morning, she would cook breakfast with him, nothing fancy, just eggs and bread and tea, but together. Every evening, they would sit on the veranda and talk. Really talk about Mariama. About the old days. About his regrets. About her regrets. Michael came to visit every single day after work. He would help Sori in the garden. They would walk side by side, not always talking, but present. Together. David came over every weekend and sometimes during the week too. He made sure Sori took all his medications. He cooked Sunday lunch for the family. He listened to his father's stories about the old days. Stories he had been too busy to listen to before. The people in the neighborhood noticed the change. Auntie Fatmata would smile when she saw the children's cars parked at Sori's house. Uncle Ibrahim would wave at them. The Imam nodded with approval. 1 year later, Joy's wedding to Fode never happened. She realized she didn't want to marry someone who would abandon her in her time of crisis. Instead, she focused on rebuilding her relationship with her father. Michael met a nice woman at church named Adama. When they got engaged, the first person he told was his father. And when they planned the wedding, Michael made sure Sori was involved in every decision. Papa, what do you think about this venue? He would ask. Papa, should we invite these people or those people? Papa, will you walk me down the aisle? That last question made Sori cry. Me? But you are the groom. I know, but I want you there with me. I want everyone to see that my father is beside me, where he should always have been, where I should have always wanted him to be. When Michael got married, Sori stood proudly beside his son, looking healthy and strong again, not like the broken old man from Joy's almost wedding. He looked like himself again, like a father who was loved and valued. David started bringing patients to visit Sori, sometimes young people who were estranged from their own families. Talk to my father, he would say. Listen to his story. Learn from our mistakes before it's too late. And Sori would talk to them. He would tell his story, not to make them feel bad, but to help them understand the importance of family before they lost it. One Sunday afternoon, all 4 of them went to Kisi Road Cemetery together. They stood at Mariama's grave, which was now clean and well maintained. David had hired someone to take care of it. Sori put flowers on the grave, Mariama's favorite, bougainvillea. Mariama, he said softly, the children are here, all of them. They came back. Joy knelt beside the grave. Mama, I'm sorry I forgot you. I'm sorry I forgot what you and Papa taught us. But I'm learning again. We all are. Michael placed his hand on the gravestone. I promise to be the son you raised me to be, Mama. Not the one I became. David stood quietly, then said, We let you down, Mama. But Papa gave us a second chance, and we won't waste it. Sori felt tears running down his face, but they were different tears than before. Not tears of pain and abandonment. These were tears of healing, of family coming back together, of broken things starting to mend. She would be proud of you people now, Sori said quietly. Not for your jobs or your money or your success. She would be proud that you came back, that you remembered what matters. They stood there together as the sun began to set over Freetown, a family that had broken apart and was slowly, carefully putting itself back together. Sori's story spread throughout Freetown. The video from Joy's wedding had gone viral, yes. But so did the story of what happened after. How the children came back. How they changed. How they rebuilt their relationship with their father. Young people started visiting Sori to hear his story in person. He would sit on his veranda and tell them the truth, the good and the bad. I gave my children everything, he would say. My money, my houses, my health, my life. And for a while, I got nothing back. It almost destroyed me. It almost destroyed us. He would pause, looking at whichever of his children happened to be there that day. But here is what I learned. Giving everything is not wrong. Sacrifice for your children is not wrong. What was wrong was that I never taught them properly how to give back. I never showed them that relationships are not one-way streets. I gave and gave, but I never taught them how to receive and return. And we never learned to appreciate what we had until we almost lost it, Joy would add. We took Papa's sacrifices for granted. We thought success meant we had done it ourselves. We forgot that we stood on his shoulders, on his broken back, on his empty stomach. To the young parents who came, Sori would say, love your children, sacrifice for them, but also teach them gratitude. Teach them responsibility. Teach them that family is not just about taking, it's about giving back. Don't make the mistakes I made. To the successful young adults who came, he would say, remember your parents. Not just with money, money is easy. Remember them with your time, with your presence, with your love. Visit them. Call them. Ask them how they are and actually wait for the answer before it's too late. 2 years after the wedding incident, Sori was walking through the market with Joy when someone called out to him, Mr. Sori, Mr. Sori. It was a young man he didn't recognize at first. Then he remembered one of the young people who had come to hear his story months ago. Mr. Sori, I want to thank you, the young man said. After I heard your story, I went home and apologized to my mother. I had been ignoring her calls, avoiding her, because I thought she was too old-fashioned and embarrassing. But your story made me realize what I was doing. Now I visit her every week. And I'm teaching my own children to respect their grandmother. Sori smiled. That is good. Very good. As they walked away, Joy squeezed her father's hand. You see, Papa, even the painful things can bring good. Your story is helping people. Maybe, Sori said. But I wish I didn't have to go through all that pain to learn the lesson. We all wish that, Papa. But we can't change the past. We can only make sure the future is different. And it was different. Not perfect, they still had disagreements sometimes, and old wounds took time to heal completely. But they were together. They were present. They were family again. Sori would sit on his veranda in the evenings, watching his children come and go, listening to their voices fill his house. And he would think about Marama. We did it, he would whisper to her memory. It was hard. We almost lost them. But they came back. Our children came back. And somewhere in the warm Freetown breeze, Sori could almost feel Mariama's presence, almost hear her voice saying, "I knew they would. I knew they would remember who they are." This story is not just about Sori. It's about every parent who gives everything and asks for nothing. Every mother who sacrifices in silence. Every father who works himself to death for his children. Every parent who disappears a little bit every day so their children can shine. And it's about every child who gets so caught up in their own life that they forget the people who gave them that life. It's a warning, a reminder, a wake-up call. He gave them everything. And when they almost lost him forever, they finally understood what that meant. They finally understood what they had taken for granted. Don't wait until your parents collapse at your wedding to realize you've abandoned them. Don't wait until they're sick and dying to remember they exist. Don't wait until it's too late to say "I love you" and actually mean it with your actions, not just your words. Call your parents today. Visit them this week. Ask them how they are really doing and listen, truly listen to the answer. Because one day, they won't be there to call. And all the money in the world, all the success, all the big jobs and fancy houses won't matter. What will matter is whether you were there, whether you cared, whether you remembered. Before it was too late. He gave them everything. What are you giving back?